everybody? Welcome back to the Amateur Hour Sports Podcast. Colin and Roman are joining me today for today's episode.
Hello. What's going on?
And we are talking about the NFL Wildcard Weekend, giving our takes and our opinions on what we saw last weekend in all four of those games. We're gonna go in chronological order. So we're gonna start with the Bills-Texans games. Who wants to give their first thoughts on this?
Roman's pointing to me, so I'll give my first thoughts. I'm just going to say the Bills kind of just took a dump in the second half. But you could also say that the Texans took a dump in the first half.
Not as bad as what the Bills did in the second.
Deshaun Watson was awful in the first half, and then Deshaun Watson was elite in the second half.
Josh Allen played well in the first half, did not do well at all in the second half.
And overtime.
I think, honestly, I don't think either team deserved to win that. But if a team's going to have to come out, it's going to come by a field goal in overtime. I don't think anyone got, overly outplayed. I just thought that the Bills didn't do enough to win. And the Texans, I don't know.
The game came down to big plays. So it came down to Deshaun Watson breaking that tackle.
That was a very nice play.
For that
and
that deep
solidified
run.
The game. That was a great play.
There's that. There was the Deshaun Watson on the 2-point conversion, barely squeaking into the end zone. So it was the big plays that decided the game. And the big plays, Deshaun Watson made those big plays happen. Yep. Josh Allen, you could really see that his inexperience get to him in some ways. Like when he tried to throw that
Deshaun
lateral.
Watson's been in the playoffs before.
When Josh Allen threw that lateral with a minute 40 left in the game.
I was like, what are you
6?
doing? Yeah.
Minute 04, I think it was.
It was something like that,
player
put it backwards.
He's getting tackled and he throws it up in the air.
He's doing it like it's the last minute.
It's like the kind of play you make in your backyard, but you don't make it on an NFL field in the playoffs. He got lucky, though, there.
But we do have to touch on that foul call. The Bills lineman got called on an illegal block when it really was not an illegal block at all.
It was a harsh call.
And because of that, it set them back 10 yards when on that play they converted on third down.
They were in field goal range.
They converted to get a first down, but they called it back on a penalty and suffocated them.
All I'm going to say about this is I think we've seen this not called in almost every game this year.
Yeah,
that's what makes me mad about it.
It's a weird call to make. They're not supposed to call based on the moment. You're supposed to call what you see, but you got the call wrong. And in the big moment, there is a big moment bias for refs, for sure.
Look at the refs in the NFL like to take a dump in the playoffs. We saw that last year with New Orleans. Yeah. And possibly New Orleans getting screwed.
I don't think it's just an issue in the playoffs. I think it's an issue in every game, but it's just exemplified in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Of course it is. But come on, if we look at
exaggerated in the playoffs. If it costs a team a trip to the, divisional round, that's going to be bigger than losing week 2.
Oh, I know. But if we actually want to look at last year. That's got to be one of the worst non-calls I've seen in any sport. If we're looking at the Saints game
or the Rams one,
that is one of the. I think that is the worst non-call I've never seen.
The Rams Saints one.
Yeah.
Oh, by far.
That was what made no sense for me in this game was the last 5 minutes coaching decisions. Bills are 4-26. Instead of giving it to Hauschka to kick, who he missed 2 field goals all season? Yeah. Or something like that?
Hauschka was pretty much
soaking
wet.
They decided to go for it on a 4-26 and throw a screen. Yeah. Makes 0 sense. Afterwards, Houston are 4-1 on the Bills 37 or something like that, and they decide to go for it instead of kicking the field goal. It just the last 5 minutes of this game were fun to watch, but I thought both coaches were poor.
I think that
I don't think any team deserved. I didn't think any team jumped into the lead and was like, "Oh, we're gonna take this game over."
I think that the moment got the better of Josh Allen in the game because in the second half he was pretty poor after a pretty good first half, and it showed it in the second last Bills drive in regulation when Buffalo were looking like they were going to tie up the game. This is the second last drive, so they were still down by 3. And it looked like Buffalo were going to tie the game. They got into field goal range. And then all of a sudden, some bad plays, a penalty got called, and then Josh Allen takes a huge loss on the sack. Oh, yeah. He doesn't get rid of the ball, and then he gets called for the intentional grounding.
Yep.
Some poor decision-making on Josh Allen's part, and we saw it as well with that ridiculous lateral. So I think that I think Josh Allen is a great quarterback, and I think he's going to.
I think he's going to do well.
He had a great season.
I think he has a good future.
Yeah, he's a good future ahead of him, but these are the learning moments for Josh Allen. So he's going to learn a lot from this game because
I think so.
He did falter in big moments, and I just believe that the pressure of a playoff game got to him. Yeah, and the Bills are cursed.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know everyone's saying Watson won them the game, which he definitely contributed, but if I'm actually going to give somebody that won the game, it's Houston's defense.
Yeah, it is a defense.
The Bills were in the red zone 4 times and only got a touchdown once.
Yeah.
That is huge in that first quarter. That's the only reason they win.
Stopping them after they had a really good first half. And that says a lot more about Houston's defense than it does about Bills' offense.
And a lot of them were like first and goals or something. Like, they stopped them on the 5 and the 7.
I think as well, though, Buffalo had some really bad play calling in the red zone. Like, they ran a lot of screens.
And it's a couple tosses.
Yeah, they had some tosses in the red zone that like got them like 5-yard losses, which like they're like they'd be like a 1st and 1. And they'd throw a toss and like they'd move back 5 yards. So I don't know. I think it was a lot of inexperience on the Bills' part. I think like coaching wise, I think management wise, the way Josh Allen played, you could see the inexperience. Like these guys haven't won a playoff game in 24 years.
It's been a while.
Like
so it's been last one was 95 or something like that. I think it's 95.
And I believe that the last time they won a playoff game was the championship game.
They missed the kick. Is that the
No. It would have been. Yeah, it would have been the conference final where they won and got to the Super Bowl, and they lost their 4th straight Super Bowl.
The last time they won a playoff game was 95.
95? Okay.
And they lost the Super Bowl that year, and that was their 4th straight Super Bowl loss.
Oh, man. Poor Jim Kelly.
So they've been to 4 Super Bowls.
In 95? No, that wasn't a Super Bowl. That was 93. They lost in the Super Bowl.
Oh, really? They won? Oh, well, my bad. 93 when they lost Super Bowl. That was the 4th year in a row that they had lost a Super Bowl. So
they're cursed.
Pretty cursed organization.
They're cursed.
It's a pretty laughable organization.
Do you? I actually feel sorry for Bills fans though. Like that's
no, as
tough.
do I.
That's
first of all, I feel the most bad that they have to live in Buffalo.
That is true.
The armpit of the U.S.
Buffalo is not a great
sucks.
town.
I hate Buffalo, and I was there a couple weeks ago. Awful city. I said this. I always say this. I hate the city. So first of all, sorry you live in Buffalo and you have to deal with this shit.
And you have to deal with these.
Then you got to deal with
teams.
the cursed Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And you also got to deal with the Buffalo Sabres who cannot make the playoffs to save their lives.
Yeah.
Poor
Bills,
Buffalo. Poor Bills.
All right, next game: Titans Patriots. Thoughts?
I think. Well, I want to touch on Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady is well past it. Tom Brady proved.
It's an understatement.
Max Kellerman has been right.
Yeah, I can't believe that the slander that Max Kellerman gets for saying about the Cliff theory because nobody agrees with him. But Brady can't throw the ball. He missed his receiver. Like he's inaccurate as can be. He missed his receivers every which way. He threw it under. He underthrew. He overthrew. Just like behind them. The only passes Brady completes are
short
five, like
5-10 yards.
In the first half, his biggest completions were 29 yards and 21 yards. He didn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. I believe in the 29-yard completion, he threw a 5-yard pass to the left, and the guy who caught it just ran for it. The only deep completion that Tom Brady had was when there was a player wide open in midfield. Yeah. I forget who caught it, but wide open in the middle of the field. Tom Brady, you knew the Titans were going to win when they got the ball into the Patriots end late because Tom Brady literally can't throw the ball that far.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Brady is not...
He's declining.
He absolutely is.
How old is he?
42.
He's
42.
42. I think he's been declining for at least a couple years now. That's nothing bad to say on Brady.
No.
If he hadn't hit the cliff until age 40, that's still remarkable. That's
still yeah. I'm just saying at this point you can't stick up for Brady.
You have to hit a cliff at some point.
Look, I understand that the receiving core isn't what it used to be in New England, but Tom Brady just missed his guys, and I get that they have to run those dumps on offense with those guys and with Brady. But
yeah, I think to be fair, he didn't have doesn't have as many weapons as he is used to having. He's got Edelman. Edelman hasn't been great this year. Other than that, a bunch of his receivers have been hurt, and he's been using like spare parts almost. Like I'm not like sticking up for Brady. I'm just saying you could take that into account.
No, but still, he is inaccurately throwing the ball at the moment. Like if you. Like, you can talk about if Brady weapons. Like, if you put another QB in Brady's position, let's say Ryan Tannehill is playing in Brady's position, the Patriots are just as good, if not better, I think, with Ryan Tannehill throwing the football.
Yeah.
The way Ryan Tannehill's been playing this year. If you put Tom Brady in Ryan Tannehill's position,
the Titans
on Titans,
I don't think they make the playoffs.
I don't think they make the playoffs.
They don't make the playoffs.
And I know that a lot of Ryan Tannehill's like openness to throw the ball because he has Derrick Henry, he has the ability to run those play actions, but
their running game is remarkable.
It is, and it allows him to throw the ball a little bit easier. But I don't think that Brady would be able to play as well as Ryan Tannehill did in that Titans system.
What we're seeing now is just a shell of Brady. In my opinion, I think he should retire. I don't think he should go into free agency and look for offers.
I can't see him going to another team. I really can't.
He said that he's not taking a hometown discount.
Yeah.
He wants to get paid.
But is anyone really going to pay Tom Brady?
Yes. Teams will still pay Tom Brady.
I don't know. I think
Would you pay Tom Brady, though?
Talk about market value.
I think some good teams...
I guess market, but...
Look at market value.
Marketably...
Some good teams would be willing to take a year with Tom Brady to maybe go in the playoffs, but I don't know. I don't see the ability to go in deep in the playoffs.
There's a few teams.
I think if Brady goes somewhere else, he's just going to showcase his deficiencies that he has. I think
because he's been under Bill Belichick.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because he's not going to be playing under Bill Belichick, who's the greatest coach of all time. Bill Belichick is succeeding by throwing these 5-yard dumps with Tom Brady. I don't think another coach is talented enough to be able to succeed doing that.
Yeah. If no one... Like, if you can't work with Belichick, that usually means, like, he's doing a lot of it for you. And, like, I think with the Patriots offense, we're seeing just a shell of Brady and Belichick using the best of what he has. Like,
well, look at Belichick. He turned Burkhead into a half-decent player. This guy was terrible before he came to the Patriots.
I feel like Tom Brady knows, like, that his game was going to get found out, as in he's going to show how much he's declined if he goes somewhere else. He's got to know that. So I don't think he goes anywhere else. I either retires or he stays in Foxborough.
He should retire.
I think he should retire.
I think he should retire as well. The Patriots without him, though, how do you think they're going to do?
They had to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, the problem is they don't have a high draft pick.
I think the problem is they don't already have their quarterback.
The whole problem is they had two good quarterbacks until Tom Brady went out, and they had to show that they were actually good. Because they were hiding both Garoppolo and Brissett, and they wanted to hide them.
I don't think that I don't think that the Patriots are going to struggle finding a new QB though, because look at where Brady got drafted. Was he 200, 201?
He was in the fourth.
The other thing is
they can draft. I'm sorry, they can draft later and still turn that QB into somebody who can fit the game management system for Belichick.
We're also seeing one of the biggest years in quarterback free agency not free agency, but availability that we've seen in years.
Like Cam Newton's going to be available.
Cam Newton was
Mariota,
Winston, Bridgewater.
I don't think Winston's going to leave.
They don't want him.
Do you not hear what the GM?
The GM of the Bucks.
What he said?
He didn't say he didn't want him.
He said that they could have do much better without him.
I think he'll stay.
He said if we can win with this quarterback, we can win with anybody.
That's a whole different conversation.
Oh my god. Whatever. There's a lot of QBs available in the draft. Two are declared to the day of recording.
Let's talk about the Titans, man. Like, Henry's a beast.
Derrick Henry. I said this.
Henry's a beast.
I said this to you the other way. Every week he goes out and gets an all-you-can-eat buffet in Mandarin because he just eats up every team he plays against.
He was disgusting.
Yeah.
Especially in the first half. My lord.
There's a reason why he led the league in rushing this year.
That is an absolute machine.
There is a reason why he was a high second-round draft pick. Like, this guy is just a walking freight train. If you look at him standing next to his O-line, he looks as big as his O-line.
Who does he remind you of? Anything else like anything like Lynch? Prime Lynch?
Yeah, but Derrick Henry's like 6'3". Marshawn is not
and he's more agile.
Big.
That's what's
Derrick Henry is a like. I love his style of running because he's such a downhill runner, right? Even when he's like
contact,
even when he's like turning a corner trying to beat a guy on the outside, you can tell he's still running downhill. Like he's just gonna win that foot battle.
Like he can, like it would be 1st and 10. He creates contact after 5 yards and he'll just pound his guy all the way through to the first.
Honestly,
down.
like he is just unstoppable, and I think they really exposed New England's defense.
Do you think the Titans can ride out and win another game?
Not against Baltimore.
I don't
Not
think
against
they're
Baltimore.
going to be. I think
I think
Henry will have a game. I think he'll give Baltimore troubles, but I think Lamar and their offense is just
I don't think
way too much. They have way too many Pro Bowlers on that offense, man. Like, I think they're going to be too much for the Titans.
This is the first blowout we see.
I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
I'm confident that Baltimore blows them out.
I really think that the Titans offense is going to give the Baltimore defense a lot of trouble.
I think it will too.
I don't think they're going to win, but if Baltimore, who haven't, by the way,
could you see a shootout?
Titans momentum, they have played every
Oh.
week. The Ravens didn't play last week.
And they sat their
and
starters
they sat
for
everybody the
the
week
week
before.
before.
Momentum is a big deal. And the Titans have a lot of it right now, especially
Yeah, they do.
beating Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You got to feel pretty good after that. I don't think they're going to win. But if the Ravens offense does not show up, the Titans are going to put up points, I think.
I think so.
Baltimore still got a
I
good
think so,
defense here.
They do.
They do, but the way Tannehill's been playing...
Yeah, Tannehill's
Tannehill's
playing well, and
like
the way
one of
they've
the
been
best
using
QBs in
Derrick
the
Henry...
NFL.
He was getting open runs against that Patriots defense. He was just
And that is the
getting
best.
gaps,
That's
like,
the best defense in the NFL, the New England Patriots.
This is a
Yeah.
very injured, not very injured, but it was an injured New England defense.
You're right.
Still.
With a couple
Still.
of key linebackers.
Scheme is
out.
still there.
The Titans
I
have the
understand
weapons
this.
to give the Ravens trouble. I don't think it's to be a walk in the park, like you say.
I don't think it'll be a walk.
That's just my opinion. Before we move on to another team or the other game, I want to give my cap off to the Titans coach.
Yeah,
for putting in Tannehill and sitting
Just
Marcus Mariota.
with on the
Well,
whole
that-
season, he
On the
in
whole
that
season,
game.
yeah.
No, in this game specifically, I said to you earlier,
Oh, yeah.
it was a chess match.
Yeah.
Like
Why the second half so
Belichick.
boring?
The antics he pulled with that punt and taking those timeouts, taking like 2.5
Yeah.
minutes off the clock.
He took a delay
that
of
was
game,
huge.
and then if you take another delay of game, it's an unsportsmanlike conduct. So we took
A false start.
false
instead.
start, moved the ball even further back, ran
But
off
the clock is still running.
ran off a minute of the clock, punted to the half-yard
Yeah.
line.
And it was even worse because New England had a neutral zone infraction on it as well.
Yeah.
They jumped.
They jumped as well. Yeah,
And they
that
got
was-
him off to the half-yard line.
He was using Belichick's tactic against him. The commentators were saying Belichick does it all the time. and
Interesting
now he's
enough,
doing it to him.
Belichick is 500 against teams that have coaches that have worked for him before.
Yeah, 15-14 going in, and he lost
Now
that
he's
game.
15-15.
He was also like 6-0 against Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, but that's Miami.
Before that game, they're also disgustingly well against young quarterbacks. But hey, man,
Hey, Titans came to play.
they did come to
I'm
play.
happy for them.
They
But
punched them in the mouth.
let's move on to the next game on the list.
Minnesota.
The Vikings
New Orleans.
versus the Saints. First of all, hats off to Kirk Cousins, because usually in primetime games he
Primetime
falters.
shirt.
Basically,
I agree.
I think it's a Monday Night Football curse for Kirk Cousins. We gotta see him on a Monday night to really.
Yeah, we do.
But
Rip.
Kirk Cousins, we like to say that he doesn't show up in big moments. But yesterday,
He showed
when
up.
they needed Kirk Cousins in the big moments, Kirk Cousins showed up.
He had a game.
He didn't
had
have a game. He also is now just getting his offense fully healthy again. Their offense hasn't been at full strength since the earlier weeks. They have Rudolph back, they have Diggs back, who have been on and off hurt. Thielen has been on and off the injury list. Dalvin Cook as well. They finally got all their pieces back, and they.
The Vikes deserve to win that game.
They played. It was a very good
They
game.
played very well.
I think, yeah.
They had the
played
Saints
well.
scrambling in the fourth quarter, tie it up, and they managed to do.
They
so.
held Drew Brees to only 200 yards.
Yeah, Drew Brees wasn't phenomenal. I don't know. I think that the NFL turned a page yesterday because Drew Brees, Tom Brady out. They're on their way out. We know
That
Aaron
was
Rodgers
Brees'
is
third
regressing.
consecutive loss in the playoffs.
And
Brees?
they can't beat the Vikings in the playoffs.
No. They find a way to lose to the
They
Vikings.
do find a way
guess.
to lose to the Vikings.
But that game was just so unfortunate for the Saints. We saw how many times they were about to get a turnover and it got reversed.
Oh,
I think it was 3 times.
It was in a matter of 5 minutes. They had 3 turnovers, all that were called back because of fouls
Or they were down.
or because
Down by
their
contact.
knee was down.
They're all the right calls.
No,
They
were.
were all the right
No,
calls,
it
but
was just
but
unfortunate.
It was just
The
it is unfortunate.
arguable call is a game-winning touchdown.
I don't think
there
it's
was a
arguable.
question of offensive pass interference on Rudolph. What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
I don't think it was. I think it was fine.
I don't know, man.
There's a weight room issue.
Rudolph,
Anything.
He pushed off.
He
of him.
stiff armed.
Pushed off
He
of
stiff armed.
him.
He pushed off. It's the letter of the law.
I think you could definitely make a case for it. I don't know if it's like
yeah
a definitive
Yes.
like.
I know, but if we're gonna go back to the letter of the law, you can go back to the Bills game when we say that guy gave himself up.
Yeah. Okay. That's
If we're gonna go back to that, then technically the Bills should have went up.
The issue with this one for me, I think that it wasn't glaringly obvious on first look. I don't like that the refs just didn't even check it. Like I feel like that should.
At the at
There
the
was
end of
no
the game-
review.
No.
No,
like,
well they had to have reviewed it
but-
because it was
but
a scoring.
But it was like
scoring
it was
play.
it basically looked like all right, whatever. Like they didn't properly analyze that play, which I didn't like. But ultimately, I don't think it was enough to overturn it. But I also think that if they had called offensive pass interference, they wouldn't have overturned that either.
I think if they called it on the first hand, you would keep it.
It would have, but it wasn't. Yeah,
I think they would have kept the on-field play, whatever it was. So it could have gone either way.
I still feel.
Unfortunately.
I feel.
I feel bad for the Saints.
I feel
They've
bad-
always had really good teams. They had a very, very good team this year.
Didn't play that well.
I mean, I think the
Breeze
Vikes,
didn't play that
the Vikes would have scored on that play regardless.
Yeah, honestly,
I-
they were doing a little bit better with Bridgewater than they were with Breeze. Like, they were undefeated with Teddy Bridgewater.
The thing about the Saints, you gotta look at the teams they play. They play some terrible teams in their season.
Hey, man.
They're in a bad Division 2.
You can only beat who's in front of you.
Oh, I understand
Hey,
that.
me and Colin thought the Saints were the second best team in the NFL
Right.
coming into the playoffs. We had them getting to the Super Bowl out of San Fran.
And the Saints could have had a bye. But because of the way that Seattle-San Francisco game turned out, the Saints were the one who didn't get the first round bye.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to feel for them. That's tough.
And you're saying with New England, they lost to the Dolphins and put themselves in that game against
That
Titans.
is true.
They
That
beat
is
they
true.
beat
They
the-
could have beaten the Dolphins.
They beat the 4-11 Dolphins. They're playing this weekend.
Wasn't it at home too?
It was at home.
It was at home. It was in Foxborough.
They lost both games at Foxborough in the last 2 weeks.
Poor Brady.
Their place wasn't set in the playoffs. Why would you slack off against a?
They didn't.
They
though.
didn't. They couldn't
Brady
win.
played. Brady didn't play
Miami
well.
had a game.
How do you lose?
I don't know. I don't really have anything else on the Vikings Saints. I mean, I'm surprised, but the Vikings deserved it.
I'm happy the Vikings won. Who do the Vikings play again? Who are they going up against?
San Fran.
In San Fran.
It's gonna be San Fran.
That's a tight one.
Hey man,
Are we really gonna trust?
Minnesota has some players.
I'm saying Minnesota's got some players, but are we actually gonna trust Garoppolo come playoff time?
Here's the thing.
Playoff Garoppolo.
That's what I was gonna mention because we've been talking all season. Like earlier on in the season, we said we don't know if he's gonna be the real deal. I said I don't know if he's gonna be the real deal.
He's
I said,
slowly proving it.
hey man, we'll see when it comes to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm
We'll
torn.
see.
I'm torn on this game.
He's got. I think he has the best team around him.
Garoppolo.
Oh yeah.
Well, Kittle's having a year.
Oh, Kittle's
disgusting.
a
man.
broken ankle.
Yeah.
And he's an absolute monster.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Kittle's
goodness.
disgusting. All right,
Last game.
Philly, Seattle.
Colin Seahawks. Colin, do you want to go first?
All I'm gonna say is go Hawks. Shout out Nick Bell if you're listening to this, man. I feel bad for your Eagles. Honestly, as a Seattle fan, I think we didn't play our best football.
No.
No. And we haven't been playing our best football for the past 5-6 games of the season.
You
You've
very
been so
well
injured.
you very well could have won the division though. You
We very well
beaten
could
San
have won the
Fran.
division. There were some coaching issues late in the stretch of the Seattle game against San Fran, which ultimately gave us the loss. I am going to say that it was a pass interference. We were going to score a touchdown. It was pass interference. The refs didn't call it under 30 seconds.
We're not talking about that game.
I'm talking about that. Anyways, Seattle has been the best road team in the NFL. I think we lost 0 games on the road all season.
Really?
You won in.
I think we
You won
went
in San
4-4
Fran?
at home.
You won in San Fran.
Mhm.
And when you lost to Arizona, it was home.
Let me
Mhm.
check. Let me check.
That's
Let me
horrid.
check this.
Yeah.
Seattle were 7-1 away from home.
Oh, excuse me. Who did we lose to at home or on the road?
I don't know.
Anyways, but 7-1 on the road is pretty damn
Very
good.
impressive.
So
Lambeau's a different thing, though.
honestly,
Lambeau's a whole different thing.
when we lost to San Francisco, I wasn't that upset because I knew we were a very good road team. Philly already had injuries, just like us, so it'll be even. And hey, man, I feel bad for Carson Wentz.
That was a dirty hit.
Jadeveon.
Yeah.
I kind of backed you up after the play, but now that I look at it, it looks like you did kind of fuck
He hit him late, and he did not try to avoid his head.
Yeah, Jadeveon, man, I just hope you can play next game. But
You're gonna be lucky if he's not suspended.
yeah,
I don't think he will be. I think
just because he wasn't ejected from the game at all, I think it'll just.
I think he'll be fine.
He'll be fine. They want to save the refs here. Come on.
Apparently, Carson Wentz was like fucked up.
Oh yeah, did you hear what they were saying about him? That apparently he was like wobbling in the injury
and he didn't remember anything.
Yeah.
Jeez, like
that's not
crushed.
good.
Well, if you want to
back of the head, that was dirty.
He like, did he come off right after that, or did he stay in the game?
He came off.
Oh.
Was it at a commercial? Because all of a sudden he just came out.
All of a sudden he was walking on the
and then McCown
and no one knew what happened. And then they showed the replay after.
Was it? I mean,
rushing quarterback McCown.
Yeah, literally when McCown came on, he was playing like Lamar Jackson.
Hey man, I think
even though he's 40 years old and that was his first ever playoff appearance, I think
McCown played really well down the stretch. I think our defense played really, really well. The Eagles had plenty of opportunities to convert on 4th and 3rd down. They were pretty much on our 10-yard line, and we stopped them on 4 down. Like, I think our defense played really, really well.
The Eagles missed their weapons, though, for sure.
They did.
And they're very depleted.
Each team did.
I don't like. I will give the Eagles the pass on the injuries, just because Seattle's been battling injuries all year, and I know exactly what that's like. I talk like I'm on the team. But...
Hey, you're a fan.
But yeah.
The Eagles, I mean, props to the Eagles for knocking out the Cowboys. Won me $20.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
I won my $20 bet because of that.
You put 20 on that?
Yeah, I bet Deshaun $50 that the Cowboys wouldn't win a playoff game, and if they didn't, I got 20, and they did, he got 50.
Deshaun, I just want to say you're delusional for your takes on the Cowboys pretty much all season.
He said 10-6, and he said 9-7.
When we make the playoffs, we're gonna wipe the floor.
I remember that
with the Seattle Seahawks.
I mean, in all fairness, they do have the team to do it. They just can't.
To be honest, I would have rather
Jason Garrett.
I would have rather
he's gone.
The Cowboys made the playoffs and lost this game.
Me too. Oh, it would have been so nice to beat your Cowboys. But anyways,
hey, at least they're out.
Anyways, let's give our takes for the upcoming games. We'll start with the Texans Chiefs. How do you guys feel about that one?
I think it'll be Chiefs.
I think Chiefs, but I don't count out the Texans.
I agree.
I don't either. I think Deshaun
Watson showed he can do it.
Deshaun always finds a way to keep his team in football games.
Well, it's
problem is his O-line is straight
sacks.
His O-line is not that good. Even though they traded for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills,
also the Chiefs.
In the game.
Did he?
Yeah. I don't know if he went back in, but
the Chiefs' defense is nothing spectacular.
No, but I think Patrick Mahomes makes up for
it. Patrick Mahomes is spectacular.
Yeah, we got to look at Houston's defense here. That's going to be the bread and butter.
If they can hold Mahomes to under like 300 yards passing, I think they've done their job.
But we all kind of think the Chiefs.
Okay, yeah.
I think it'll be Chiefs.
Vikings at 49ers. It's 49ers.
I think it's 49ers. I think it's the 49ers.
Kirk Cousins is not going to be able to replicate that against the 49ers defense.
No. The 49ers have a crazy
Richard Sherman is just going to cancel out a receiver.
I'm taking the Vikings.
You're taking the Vikings.
Roman, don't do that.
Explain.
I'm taking the Vikings. I think San Fran, I know they have proven that they're a good team in the league. Playoffs, I think they shit the bed.
Roman.
Especially, I think Garoppolo.
Roman.
No. Okay, go ahead.
San Fran lost 3 games.
I understand this.
With a combined loss, points lost by of under 10, dude.
I understand that.
They lost in overtime against Seattle. They lost on a last-second field goal against Baltimore.
And they lost on a when Julio Jones caught the pass on the goal line.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Roman.
I'm taking Minnesota.
They barely lose when they lose. They're that good.
Regular season and playoffs are 2 different beasts.
That is true.
They've lost.
That is true. And I did say I want to see what happens with Garoppolo. I think his team will play great. I don't know about Garoppolo. We'll see.
They've lost by a combined 12 points.
It's insane. They had an insane season.
6, 3, and 3.
They had an insane season. You can't take them away from that. All I'm saying is playoff Garoppolo. I want to see how he does.
Look, I don't think he's going to do well. Garoppolo has shown that with the weapons he has, he can manage the game well enough. I think against a better team, we could have problems. That's why I thought the Saints would have been able to go over the 49ers. But since it's the Vikings...
That would have been a great game.
Yeah, when we saw what the Saints and 49ers did in regular season, I wanted to see that again, right?
Yeah.
But what was it, 48-45?
That was one of the best games of the game.
But Vikings, I can't see it, man. I don't know where you're getting this from.
I'm taking the Vikings. It's just
Well,
maybe
yeah,
I'm gonna get destroyed
So do
here.
you just think it's the 49ers offense not going to be able to produce?
I think it's just Garoppolo. I think
But their defense is so good.
He gets
Put
so
a
many
little
chances
respect
to
on
score.
Kirk Cousins. He's had a decent season.
Yeah, but the
defense is
49ers
so
defense, the
gross.
49ers defense is unbelievable.
I understand. I'm just saying. I think this
Alright,
is
alright,
pure
alright,
instinct
alright.
and a little bit of Garoppolo.
We talked about the Titans Ravens already. We don't need to go over that. Just reiterate. I think the Titans are going to need them problems.
I think
the
it could
Ravens
be
are
a shootout. I think it could be a shootout.
And in a shootout, I think the Ravens will still come on top.
Yeah, it's still Ravens.
But
still Ravens.
you think it's going to be a blowout.
I think it, and I hate it because I hate the Ravens, but I do think it's going to be a blowout.
We'll move
like
on
we
to
said,
final game.
It's the Ravens Super Bowl to lose.
Final
I
game,
agree.
Seahawks, Packers. Honestly, man, if Seattle can stump that Packers offense, because Aaron Rodgers is not the man he used to be. He does not have a good receiving core.
No.
Like,
I
I can potentially see Seattle winning, but I'm gonna favor the Packers. But again, I can relatively see the Seahawks being able to win that game. There's just too many injuries. I mean, Aaron Rodgers again, not the man he used to be. Jimmy Graham is dropping passes.
Jimmy
left, right,
Graham
center.
is
Yep.
even since he was with us, he fell off a cliff.
It could be Seattle, and you said they're good away, right? They're what were they 4-4 at home?
Now we're
7-1 away.
Now we're 8-1 on the road this season.
But Lambeau's a different beast.
Lambeau is a different
That's
beast.
a terrifying place to go.
So is.
Hey,
Century Link.
I've watched the Wild Card Giants roll into Lambeau and go through.
Hey man, you never know.
This game, when I think of it, it's going to come down to one thing. It's going to be how bad Green Bay secondary plays, because they are known for having a
and you
terrible
just saw what
secondary.
DK Metcalf just
and
had. DK just feasted.
And how good your receiving core plays. That's where this game's really going to come down.
Here's the thing. It's Russell Wilson running for his life and then just extending the play. We were on like 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15 so many times, and he always just found a way to get it done.
But
like, we're so dependent on Russell Wilson, I feel like...
So is Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers.
That is true.
But if I'm going to give it to a team, it's going to be Green Bay, just because Aaron Rodgers is terrifying in the playoffs.
Hey, we'll see what he's like now, but you're right.
But I'm saying past prior.
Oh yeah.
Terrifying.
We'll end it there. I don't think there's anything else to say. Thank you to Colin and Rowan for being on this podcast. By the way, the merch has dropped. The link will be in the description. You can go to the link tree. But check that out. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AmateurPDC. Give us episode suggestions. Subscribe on YouTube. Like the video if you liked it. Follow on Spotify. And as usual, we post every single day.
Daily.
So keep coming back for that daily content. We will see you tomorrow.